Now we come to one of Mendel's greatest accomplishments. What Mendel did was start to study more than one trait at a time. So the first thing you have to remember is all of the same rules apply. It's just this looks a little more confusing because we're following a couple traits at a time. This first fact is known as Mendel's first law of segregation. Now, this type of inheritance is called a dihybrid cross. Why dihybrid? Because we're going to be dealing with two traits at the same time. Alright, so what we're going to do is look at a pea plant that's purple and tall. The flowers are purple, the plant is tall, and cross that with a plant that has white flowers but is short. So let's look at what the genotype would be. Purple is dominant, so I'll use big P, and tall is dominant, so I'll use big T. White is recessive, and short is recessive. Now, the first thing I do, always, just like always, is ask myself, what are the possible gametes? And the first thing I always do is draw a line between the two parents. And I say, okay, what are my possible gametes? What are my possible egg cells? What are my possible sperm cells? All right, well, let's just, for our sake here, let's say these cells are going to make the eggs. So I will say I'm going to go from a diploid cell to a haploid cell to make my gametes. So I get one of each. Remember, when we do meiosis, we split the number of chromosomes in half. So each, let's say this is the egg, I'll put egg over here, because plant cells do have eggs. This egg is going to get one of the P genes, the purple genes, and one of the big T genes. Those are the only two genes that egg can get. Well, over here, if this is the male, he can only get, his gametes can only get the small p and the small t. All right, so it's just like before, only now we have two genes at the same time. Now we put this into a Punnett square, so this will be our F1 generation, and I put the female across the top, male there, and I come down and cross them, and I get all the kids. What are they going to look like? They're all going to be purple and tall. They are going to be heterozygous, but they're still purple and tall. So their phenotypes are 100% purple and tall. Now what Mendel did then, of course, is cross one of these with itself. Remember, peas will do that. So here's the cross. Now this can be one of the most tricky steps, but again, keep your same thinking. The first thing I do is draw a line down the middle, and I ask myself, what are my possible gametes? Alright, so look, I can get one of my possible gametes. I always have to get one of each letter. So I take a P and a big P and a big T, one of each. What would be another possibility? How about big P, little t? Little p, big T? And little p, little t. I can also do this, maybe from math, you might remember FOIL, where you do the first two, then the outside, outside, then inside, and then the last two. Doing FOIL will get you all four combinations also. Over here, we selfed it, so obviously the other gametes are going to be the same four possibilities. Now, I take these information. Now, one of the things I like to do is circle these, just to remember they have to go together. They are in a gamete, they are in a cell. They are in, maybe these are the sperm cells. And maybe over here, these are the egg cells. So I'm going to circle them so that we remember to keep them together in the Punnett square. Circle them. Alright, so now I'm going to create my Punnett square. Now this is going to be a much bigger Punnett square than we've usually made. So here's the F2 generation. I have four possibilities across the top and four possibilities across the side. But I still do the same thing. I bring them down and across. So this plant here, what's he going to look like? This plant's going to be homozygous, and it's going to be purple and tall. This plant, I'm not going to go through every one, but again, look, purple, tall. Purple, tall, purple, tall, And now we start to see some differences. Here's a purple tall. This one is purple but short. Here's another purple tall. Here's another purple short. And what else do we have down here? Here is one that's white, has white flowers and is tall. Here's another one, white flowers and tall. And we finally get down here where we actually have one guy here that gets both recessive genes, and he's going to be white and short. So now what I need you to do after you complete your Punnett square is go through and get a total of all the different phenotypes.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
So after you get a tally up all the different types. Here are the 4 different types: purple tall, purple short, white tall, and white short. And in your notes, write down how many of each you would get. You'll have some here, some here, some here.